If someone tells you you should have 5 Lambos, a penthouse, and caviar in your fridge by the time you're 30, they're full of BS. I mean, it's totally fine to have these big dreams, but those are just not realistic financial goals for any young person to have. In this video, we are going over 7 financial goals to achieve by the time you're 30 years old. If you're over 30 years old and you haven't done some or all of these, that's totally okay. Everyone is on a different timeline, and that's another reason why I'm not gonna go into the numbers too much in this video. We're all different, we're all in different situations, so there's no set number or amount of money you should be making by any certain age. It's all relative, and what works for one person may not work for another person. I always tell my coaching clients, set specific goals that work for you, and then make that happen. If you don't have an end goal, then it's really hard to identify and implement the things you need to do in order to get there. So how much is an average income? For people in their 20s, the average income is $56,984. And the median net worth is just $6,500. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. These people have student loans, they just started working, and as a result, they're gonna have a lower income. So with that in mind, let's go over these 7 goals, which will give you clarity and give you an idea of where you want to be. So the first one is work towards a high-paying job or career. The typical starting salary for someone that's graduating in the year 2019 is about $50,000. It's also around that for people who graduated before that, but it tends to trend downward. For this video, we'll use $50,000 as the baseline. Now, the thing with income is that you always want to trend upward. And I'm not only talking about pay because there are lots of other things you need to consider when choosing a job. For example, the benefits and the work-life balance. So this is, I think, the goal that most people have. You want to make enough money to be comfortable and to afford the certain luxuries that you want. You also don't want to be stressed out by money. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, obviously that's going to put some strain on your life. So based on your lifestyle, think about an income that will work for you. It can be $100, $200, $500,000, even more. One thing I will say though is to have the mindset that there is no ceiling for income. There might be a ceiling for your current job. For example, if you work for an assistant for a lawyer, then yeah, that's gonna have some type of income ceiling. But law, don't get me started, you can make a lot of money in that career and there is no ceiling. However, jobs are stepping stones, they're springboards, and whatever job you have right now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same job that you have in 5 or 10 years. I guarantee you, in whatever niche or industry that you are really interested in, there is going to be a job that pays way more money than you're making now. So just keep that in mind when you are searching for jobs and you're planning out your whole career. Another important mindset to have is the abundance mindset. And what this says is there is enough money out there. And if you want it, you can get it. The reason why you want your income to trend upwards in your 20s is because it's going to save you a lot of time. As you make more money, that's generally going to mean that you're working smarter, and as a result, you can work fewer hours or fewer years and retire earlier. And one last thing I want to say is instead of thinking about how you can make more money, think about how you can add more value to the world. Whenever you help people out, then the universe rewards you and you will make more money. Okay, the second financial goal I have for you guys is to get your credit score above 740. The average credit score is 730, which is actually pretty good. Good credit plays such a vital role in your financial life. It helps you get loans, mortgages, pay less interest, and really the list goes on. I really want to stress the importance of getting your credit good at an early age, because really that's going to set yourself up, and I guarantee you, you will thank me later. Not only will you thank me, but you will thank yourself when you're applying for a loan and you get that super ultra low interest rate. You're gonna be like, I remember that video where Charlie told me to up my credit score, and now look how much money I'm saving. So if a credit score of 700 is good enough, why do you need to get it above 740? Well, anytime you have a credit score above 740, that's considered excellent, and you're gonna get the lowest rate in any loan you apply for. The difference in rates between 740 and 700, it's actually quite big, and it's gonna save you a lot of money in the long term. Let's say you have a $500,000 mortgage. Let's say for a credit score of 700, you get a rate of 3.25%. And for a score of 740, that gives you a rate of 3%. With that 3% rate, your monthly payment is gonna be $2,108. With that 3.25% rate, your monthly payment is gonna be $2,176. That, you guys, saves you about $816 per year. I'm not going to talk about what exactly makes up your credit score. You can check out my other video for that. But here's some things you can do while you're in your 20s that will help you get to that 740 score. The first one is to get your free credit report from annualcreditreport.com. This is not sponsored by them in any way. That's just the official website to get your free credit score. Once you get that credit report, you'll have to dispute any errors that are on there. I mean, hopefully there aren't any errors, but if there are, that's going to be affecting your score, making it lower than it should be. When you dispute it and you are correct, then you get that taken off and your score improves. Next sounds obvious, but that is to make your payments on time. Late payments are one of the worst things that you can do to your credit score. Next is to get a higher credit limit, as this will affect your credit utilization ratio. The more money you can borrow, the less percentage of it you are going to be using, and as a result, that is going to help out with your credit score. And finally, keep your balances low, because that's also going to lower your credit utilization ratio. But yeah, credit is something that is so important and something that you really need to set in your 20s. The next goal I have for you guys is to buy your first house. And yes, this can be out of state. If you're in a high cost of living area, you're probably like, what the how am I going to do that? But you guys, it doesn't have to be in your state. You don't have to live in your own property. The reason why I say to get your first house or investment property early on in your 20s is because you want to get the ball rolling on real estate investing. Pretty much all super wealthy people invest in real estate. So if you want to be super wealthy, well, you got to mimic what they do. Millionaires still say that real estate is the best investment. And I still think that it is somewhat of a reasonable to have by the time you're 30 to get your first house. It is sort of a stretch goal, especially depending on where you live. But I always say you might as well aim for those big goals, because if you don't, then you are limiting yourself. Now, if you're in your 20s, I think the smartest thing to do to get into real estate investing is to house hack. Basically, what this is you're buying a duplex, triplex, fourplex, anything like that. You are living in one of the units and you are renting out the others to tenants. The reason why this is so good is because buying a multi-unit property allows you to qualify for a bigger house than you normally would qualify for. This is because lenders use about 50% of the potential rental income as your own income. Let's say you can normally afford maybe a $500,000 single family home. Well, if you buy something like a triplex and decide to rent out the other two units, you'll likely be able to afford something much higher, maybe $600,000 or $700,000. And this is the way that a lot of people live for free or live for very low cost. If you can't buy a multi-unit, you can also just buy a normal single family home and rent out the other bedrooms. Getting into real estate investing gives you passive income. You make money in two ways. First is through the equity. When your tenant is paying down that mortgage, or when you're paying down that mortgage, part of that goes to your equity. And the other is through appreciation, when the value of the house goes up. Even if the property does not have positive cash flow, you can still view this investment as a forced savings account. You're building all that equity, and at some point you can do a cash out refinance and pull that money out, or you can sell your house and just have that money in your bank account. It is a lot of delayed gratification in terms of income. And I really want to stress this, you guys. It is so important to get the ball rolling on real estate early on. The earlier you start, the more opportunities you will find, and as a result, the more money you can make. So that's why I think this one is a huge goal to have. Next up is to leverage money. And when I say leveraging money, I'm talking about getting good loans and getting rid of bad debt. This is the opposite of Dave Ramsey's advice. So if you're coming from his channel, I'm super sorry. By the time you're 30 years old, you'll want to have leveraged money in some type of way. What I mean by this is you'll want to borrow a substantial amount of money from a bank or a lender. And with that money, you'll use it to control something that's a lot more expensive or bigger than you normally would be able to control. Prime example, of course, is your mortgage. Let's talk about a scenario where you put 10% down on a $500,000 home. That's going to be a down payment of $50,000. That's your initial investment in this property. Let's say this property appreciates by 3% in the first year of ownership. That means your $50,000 invested generated $15,000 in gains. That is a 30% return on investment just based on the appreciation alone. It doesn't even consider the money that you've put into the equity of the house through those mortgage payments. And the second way that you can leverage money is through other investments. For example, you can invest in yourself and your self-improvement, and that's gonna return something that's a lot greater than what you put in. You can borrow money from business partners to start up a business. Really, the list is endless, and you can get very creative with this. The more leverage you have, the more potential gains there are. But that also means you have more risk. You'll wanna find a good middle ground and do what you think is comfortable for yourself. Also, guys, focus on getting rid of bad debt. Anything with an interest rate above 5 or 6%, I normally recommend people to pay that down as quickly as possible. But whenever you can actually finance something for a very low interest rate, I recommend doing that instead of paying cash for it. Because if you take that money that you're saving up front, you're gonna come out ahead in the long term by a lot. Investing in the S&P 500, for example, should return at least 7 or 8% per year. You might as well borrow that money at like 3% interest and make that 7 or 8% by investing it. Get smart with the cash flow of your financials, know when to leverage money, and also know how to leverage that money. It's gonna help you out so much, and that's why this is such an important goal. All right, our next goal is to understand what it means to be financially literate. Financial literacy is the ability to understand and apply money skills. It's about managing money, investing money, and making money. Financial literacy is the foundation of everyone's life. We spend a significant portion of our lives working in order to have money so that we can support ourselves. Why not strengthen that foundation so that we can keep more of that money, make more faster, and let that money work for us and make us more money? You know, that's gonna free up a lot of time. It's gonna make the amount of hours or days you work much less. And I think we can all agree that no one wants to work their whole life. They'd rather work smart, work effectively, and be able to retire as early as possible. Now, if you're in your 20s, this is the perfect time to brush up on your financial literacy. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, You Are a Badass at Making Money, The Compound Effect, and so many more. If you aren't reading, you guys, you just aren't learning as much as you can. And I just really want to stress the importance of books on your financial literacy. Books have such a great impact on how much you know and all the opportunities of making money that are right in front of your eyes. Learn to invest in the stock market, learn to invest in real estate, learn how money works, learn how to find more opportunities to make money. And yeah, you guys, this is all stuff that we don't learn in school, and it is your responsibility to learn it. When you do learn it though, this is a huge advantage because unfortunately, most people just never learn this stuff and they never apply it. So yeah, set a goal for your financial literacy and make that happen. All right, my sixth financial goal for you guys is to develop multiple streams of income. Being in your 20s is a time to take risks. And I really mean it, you guys. You guys probably don't have kids. You probably don't have a mortgage. There's a lot more flexibility in your lives right now. And as a result, you need to take this time to take those risks. And the thing is, when you start early, that's when you get those compounding effects, which will pretty much make you a guaranteed millionaire when you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. Also, you guys, you can mess up right now and it really doesn't matter. You have your whole life ahead of you to fix that. And yeah, that's why I say, guys, take risks and try to develop more sources of income. When you create more sources of passive and active income, I guarantee you, your life is gonna change dramatically. I'm 28 and I've built up about 10 sources of income. So if you guys are interested in seeing that video, I'll post it in the description below. But yeah, people are always asking me, Charlie, how are you able to build so many sources of income? And what are your top tips for doing so? What I say is work on 1 to 3 at a time, make those self-sustaining, and then work on more. You don't want to be building 5 or 10 income sources at the same time because that's probably not going to end up too well. And guys, not every business idea or side hustle that you do is going to work out, and that's totally okay. You'll want to double down on those. And the ones that don't work, well, that's totally fine. You tried it, you learned from it, and you'll take those lessons and use them to help you in whatever other businesses you start. There really is no set number of income streams that you should have, but by the time you're 30, don't have just one single source of income. You don't want to rely on one, and you want to have multiple that you can fall back on if one or the other doesn't do so well. All right, my last financial goal for you guys is to invest a good portion of your income. This sounds super simple, but it's actually very hard, especially with today's lifestyle creep and social media where everyone just posts pictures of themselves spending money. So sometimes we feel like, hey, I see all my friends spending money. I need to reward myself. I need to spend money too. However, you totally don't need to do that, guys. Social media is a fraud and everyone's life is not as glamorous as they make it seem on social media. The key thing to do in your 20s is to save a good portion of your income. I would say 20% plus is optimal. Of course, it really depends on your situation. It depends on your bills. It depends on any dependents you have. But guys, aim for a good number like 20% because if you do, that's gonna change your life. And when I talk about saving money, I'm saying don't put it in the bank. Put it into investments that grow each and every single year. It's a tough mentality. I mean, I like to see money in my bank account. I'd rather see it there than in my investment portfolio. But guys, when you have money in your bank account, it's just losing money each and every year due to inflation. If you think you'll need money quickly, well, a lot of investment accounts allow you to pull out money very fast. So of course, have an emergency fund, have at least some in your savings account, but really the bulk of your net worth, the bulk of your money should be in investments. In this video, I'm just gonna really briefly go over some tax advantage retirement accounts that you guys should be taking advantage of. But the most important, in my opinion, are the Roth IRA and the 401k. Now, if you don't have an employer, then you probably don't have a 401k, but you can still open up a Roth IRA. And yeah, that's what I did early on in my 20s. I opened up my first Roth IRA with Vanguard. These retirement accounts are a safe and really long-term place to hold your money for retirement. Not only is it just holding money there, but it's growing there and you get to take advantage of so many tax benefits. For a Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the money now, then you put that money in and then that money grows tax-free. You're literally not paying any taxes on those gains, which is just amazing. With the 401k, you are putting in pre-tax money. And the reason why this is good is because it reduces your taxable income for the year. Let's say you make $50,000 and you put $10,000 into your 401k. Well, that means that now you are only being taxed on a $40,000 income. But the bad part about this is you are paying taxes on whatever gains you have. So guys, just have the mindset that saving is not the exact same thing as investing. Saving money in a bank is nowhere near as good as investing that money. And ultimately, if you want to grow really, really rich, you're gonna have to start investing a significant portion of your income and get comfortable with having that risk of investing money. So guys, in conclusion, I want you guys to use this video as a guide for whatever financial accomplishments you want to have by the time you're 30 years old. If you're past 30, these are still great things to strive for. And yeah, this video is to give you clarity on what types of actions you should be doing, given that you want to achieve these goals. And like I said, numbers just don't matter that much. It's all about doing the best that you can based on your situation. Everyone's timelines are different, and while the title of this video is, financial goals for your 20s, really this video is applicable to anyone. So guys, stop thinking and take action. These are just my thoughts. I want all you guys to live your most financially successful life, and I know that these goals will help you get there. Since we're talking about money, if you guys have not yet signed up for WeBull, make sure to do so. Deposit $100 and get your 2 free stocks worth up to $1,650. I use this platform for my own stock trading, and you guys, it's such a great tool to have, such a great app, free to use, and extremely powerful. So might as well get some free money and start investing at the same time. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos just like this. I make a ton of content about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and investing. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.